Okay, I am live. Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Mosaic with TJ Randolph. I've been gone for a minute, and the reason why I've been gone is because my husband had COVID and I was taking care of him. A lot of things have happened, but my primary focus again was taking care of my husband, and I'm very happy to say that he is better and he has gone back to work. I want to thank the people who've reached out to me and offered the well wishes. Even though I didn't get COVID, I still kind of got a little fatigued, and it's probably because I was taking care of him. I'm going to do a reaction to a broadcast on Lapeef Let's Talk a couple of weeks ago. And actually, it's a reaction to a reaction. So what I mean by that, there was a broadcast that was on August 12th, and there was an invited guest. His name was Hannibal. And the exchange between him and Anton really got me emotional, very upset. And it took me a couple of days to even decide whether or not I wanted to address it. And I addressed it because at the time I was a part of their Facebook group, the Lapeef Let's Talk Facebook group. And the reason I joined the group is because I wanted to, as an older, more seasoned woman who has been out there, made my share of mistakes, I wanted to join that group in hopes of being an inspiration and learning as much as teaching. But I've since decided to not be in the group. There are quite a few who have reached out to me because they value my insight, they value my experience, they respect me, and they've reached out to me, and I've connected with them. And I am glad to say that they respect, that they trust me even a little bit. But if you have not seen the broadcast, I'm going to show a clip of the broadcast when it got very contentious between Anton and Hannibal. And I'm going to then show you my reaction to it because I was pissed. I was pissed because, again, why do we have to engage one another in such a destructive manner? And what benefit is it? What benefit is it other than to make ourselves look better, others look worse, and increase our numbers? And speaking of numbers, I'm excited to say I have 85 subscribers. That may not be a big deal to you all, but it's a tremendous deal to me. And I thank each and every one. I thank each and every one of you, because again, even if I can just impart a little bit, I'm doing what I aimed to do. So with that said, let's get into part of this clip, and I'm going to talk about it. And so let's.
The love and the commitment is the most important part.
And no, it's not.
No, it absolutely is.
It's not.
No, it absolutely is, because the love and the commitment is what most.
How do you know that that's the most important part when you just told me you didn't know?
No, I said I don't know what the legal and the tangible benefits of the marriage contract.
Wait. So if you don't fully know, then how can you answer this question?
We're talking about two different things.
It's everything. Everything is impactful when it comes to your household. Your
All
finances.
you understand is the tangible. I'm speaking about spiritual.
You sure about that?
I am 100% certain. You asked me what are the legal and tangible benefits of a marriage.
I didn't say legal. I said what are the tangible benefits that comes along with being married versus stacking up. You said you don't know.
Spirit is not.
You said you didn't know, and now you're an expert all of a sudden.
No. I'm not an expert on marriage.
It's okay to not know. It's just say I don't know. Anton, teach me something.
I already did.
You can be
now
educated.
I'm trying to explain a different thing.
Pride is getting in the way of you becoming.
No, your simplicity.
You were simping at first. You were simping at first, but I'm gonna teach you tonight.
Your simple-mindedness is you're missing an opportunity because you're simple-minded.
I know. You're
missing an opportunity because you're simple-minded, and it's
learn something.
It's not cute.
Better learn something. I'm gonna learn you today.
Check this out. What does love mean to you? What does love mean to you?
You're gonna get this smoke today.
That's what love means to you?
Yeah, it means smoke.
Well, that's absurd, and that's an answer in and of itself. Carry on.
Oh, you're gonna get this work today because I love you, and because I love you, I chastise my children.
Nice
You're
dodge.
gonna get this work today because I love you.
Nice dodge. If you didn't understand the question, just say that.
Yeah, you're gonna get this work today. I'm gonna show you what love look like because I'm pulling my belt off tonight, baby.
Approximately how old are you?
When I used to get whoopings when I was little,
You
my mama said, she said, I don't want to do this, but you making me, and I whoop you because I love you. This is what I'm doing to you tonight. I'm whooping.
This is painful to watch yet again. Because see, now there's no value in here. There's no value at all. It's purely for entertainment, purely. And it's disgusting to me. It's disgusting to me. Now, granted, Hannibal, he allowed himself to get out of character. I don't know this young man, but from what I saw, and again, I'm only showing you snapshots. From what I saw, he is reacting to how disrespectful and antagonistic Anton was being out the gate. And you're going to have to go and look through the whole thing because it's too much to capture. But I'm going to talk about some points that I saw. It's Jesus.
I'm getting in your ass. I'm whooping your ass all night long. And I do it because I love you. I do it because I love you. Call it what you want. I'm whooping your ass tonight, and I do it because I love you. So when you walk away from this, and your wife is holding your head saying, "Oh, it's okay, baby," you're gonna remember me. When you get up in the morning, you're gonna remember me. You're gonna say, "Anton whooped my ass," but I want you to also add in there, he did it because he loved you.
You a clown, dog. But when I was talking with Anton about the love and the commitment, it is spiritual principles that undergird a marriage. And those spiritual principles undergird every relationship, whether it be romantic, whether it be fraternal, whether, you have to do right by each other. And when you have conflicts, you have to resolve them properly. And if you don't, you're going to have the same kind of hell, whether you're formally married or you're not.
Let me say this real quick, because I know.
I'm going to agree with that, and I'm going to tell you why. Because there have been family members of mine that have been married for over 27 years. And you can do so much damage to your children, even if you are married, but children can see that there is no love in that house. What I mean is placing the spouse's needs above their own. If children see all there is arguing and fighting, what it also teaches your kids is to stay in shit. And what they will do, they will go out and look for what they have seen and what they've been exposed to because they won't know anything different. So again, yes, statistics show us that children raised in a two-parent household are generally more more adaptive and what I'm trying to say, I don't know. The outcome is better. But the caveat has to be a healthy household. What do I mean by healthy? No physical as well as mental abuse from either parent. Just because you got two parents in the household, that don't mean it's going to come out right. Do your children know what it's like to see love and affection, meaning holding hands, kissing, laughing, joking, all that? Because of course, there are going to be some tough times, but they need to see in spite of the tough times, we know how to reconnect and communicate and support and stay there, but not just stay there because we have to stay there or because we want our kids to be in a two-parent household, because again, that's not necessarily going to equate to success. There are many kids, and here's the thing, there are many kids who won't marry because they've seen the dysfunction in their house. with two parents. Let's be clear about that. Let's continue.
Ever take this type of advice from somebody when you're trying to consider marriage? It is the worst type of advice that you will ever take. Do not take that advice. Just completely throw it out, cut it out, throw it in the trash. This is not a partnership. This is a benevolent dictatorship. If you want to know the benefits of marriage and how to be successfully married, tap into your boy. So all of that crap out, just act like it never happened. If y'all, listen, we're going to do a poll on the Lapeef Let's Talk community page. We're going to do a vote. If y'all want us to cut that out of the show, let us know so that we're not poisoning people and giving them the wrong information. Let's roll. For several years before the judge even figures out what it is that they want to do. It's not inaccurate, it's real.
You don't know what you're talking about.
Jesus Christ. Every will can be contested. What are you
to verify.
Do we see what's happening here?
This boy
if
is
you want to verify this, do your own research. It's easy to verify how easy it is. That's why living trusts are created. So that when you die, your assets can go to who you want them to go to. It's easy to verify. Don't listen to this
boy is mocap. This boy is mocap. You can't even get health care coverage if you're not married, fam. Okay, if it wasn't so important to get married and you could just shack up, then why was there such a fight from the LGBT community as far as to be recognized as marriage from the state? Silence? Nothing? No
I'll talk on it. So, okay.
Living trust is one thing, wills is another. And also understand, and I do agree with Anton, you cannot get pension benefits, you cannot get Social Security benefits, you cannot get medical health coverage if you're not married. That is true. That is true. But the other stuff, as far as living trust, wills, you can, and yes, they can be contested, but you can identify your beneficiaries even in life insurance if it's not your spouse. You can do that. But here's the thing, it's not even about one or the other. As Anton says, two can be true at the same time. But what I did not like and don't appreciate, why do you have to debase one to validate the other? It's not necessary. It's not necessary. It's not necessary. Let's continue.
Hey.
To come up against me?
Okay, this is the part right here.
The benefits are. You don't even know what they're.
And have no license. Who the God
is this your hero? Is this your king? This guy right here? My Buttercup, is this your king? This is who y'all put y'all faith in?
Nobody, nothing. Anton,
this is who y'all put y'all faith in? This beta sent meal?
Anton, are you a comedian?
Is this who y'all getting at? This beta sent meal cuckold? JR, please tell me where you found this sent back.
Hey, you should
send him back to the trash can where it came, bro.
Okay, you should.
Anton, what are you?
Because he is fucking funny.
I don't know how to have
King. This is who y'all brought to come up against me. It's gonna be a long night for him. It's gonna be a long night.
Why
you went for a long night, girlfriend. You went for a long night, Buttercup.
Anton, why are you?
Wait, hold on.
Hey, everybody in the chat, hashtag Buttercup. Hashtag Buttercup. That's his new name for the rest of the show. Hashtag Buttercup.
Anton,
that's your wife.
Anton, did your wife know you're gay?
Only when I'm rocking with you, baby girl.
So she knows you're gay.
Okay, here's the thing. Several platforms of the manosphere talk about how women should talk to men. But also, let's talk about how men should talk to other men. There are some games that you should just not play. There's some places you should not go. And again, we're talking, I talked about influence. And why are you following, who are you following and why on another video. Anton is in a position of influence based on his knowledge in certain areas and experience in certain areas. Instead of focusing on the topic, even when they disagree. It went personal and it went disrespectful. I don't agree with how Hannibal engaged with it. But at that juncture, it was self-preservation, and he was trying to defend himself. Sometimes you have to rise above it, but some people are not there yet. But this brought me to tears. I was so enraged and so disappointed. And I want you to pay attention as we go further, because Anton he's enjoying it. See, me, I'm not saying that I haven't disrespected people in my life. I'm not saying that I haven't crossed the line in my life. But I never did it. I never got enjoyment out of it. I'll put it like that. I never got enjoyment out of it. Sometimes I was just full of myself and didn't realize how much full of myself I was. So I was going to argue my point. Sometimes at somebody else's expense. But I wasn't getting joy and pleasure out of humiliating someone. Never. Let's continue.
Hashtag Buttercup, baby. Let me see what the chat's talking about.
That's wild.
I see y'all. Hashtag Buttercup is in the building.
If you guys are just tuning in,
I'm doing the whole show on you tomorrow on the show. Hashtag Buttercup.
You know what? That makes sense, because I'm
Hashtag Buttercup.
Bro. I'm not going to be thinking about you tomorrow. That's what's funny.
Yeah, you are. I guarantee you,
honestly,
you won't be able to
walk
walk down.
On here to tell you to your face you're a fucking clown.
Yeah, we see it coming out now. Come on, Buttercup.
Bring it on. Tomorrow, now that I told you you're a fucking clown, I'm not going to be thinking about you no more. On everything.
Okay.
You've been thinking about me.
Okay, so I'm going to stop that, and I'm going to fast forward to this. Now, I want you to see the chaos that's taking place right now in this broadcast, because we're not even talking about issues right now. It's personal. So we're not even talking about issues, but I want you to pay attention to what's going to happen next. Let me cue it. So at this time, Kevin Samuels has entered into the broadcast. And please pay attention to the dynamic that's happening right now.
You can overperform a biological. You step your foot into court, you have no standing. Zero. No visitation or nothing. Even though you might be responsible to pay some sort of support for a child that's not yours. So if we're going to talk about right and wrong, I'll go down that path. It's the right thing to do would be for the mother to facilitate that relationship and make it as open as possible for the betterment of her child. But that's not what happens, because oftentimes the women are worried about their feelings.
But the part I want you to pay attention to is the fact that during the time when Kevin came on, nobody said a damn word. Nobody said a damn word. So given that, I'm going to show you my reaction that I did when I went on the Facebook group after that Thursday, because it took me a while to get in, to decide whether or not I was going to do it. Because again, as I shared with you, my husband was ill with COVID, and I was taking care of him. So I had more important things to do. So I want you to check out my reaction. I try to live by the words by preaching: meaning, style and grace, meaning, class, meaning, dignity. And I was so upset when I watched that display of ignorance, callousness, arrogance, humiliation. I had so many emotions going through that time. I was trying to get through. I was literally in tears.
watched that gross display of disrespect in the midst of a conversation that was supposed to be talking about what constitutes growth. You know, I had to decide whether or not I was going to do this because, again, I'm not trying to cast any aspersions. I really, you know, it's not about being liked or having likes. But again, I felt compelled to come to you because in this group, as well as those who are listening to the broadcast on Thursdays, we have an array of ages, who are very impressionable, not to insult anyone's ability to discern, but sometimes based on your age and your life experiences, people have a tendency to, when they see certain things, they believe that that is the right way to do things because someone is in position of influence. So I felt led to say, no. What am I talking about? Okay, where do I begin? Hannibal. Hannibal comes on the show. I immediately see that he has a different perspective. When I say I value, I appreciate someone who has their own perspective. Whether I agree with it or not, it is your perspective to have. Out of the gate. Shall I say again? Out of the gate, Anton goes in on that young lady. Now, the reason why I'm bringing this up, Anton has said repeatedly that they do not censor anyone. You should be, as long as you're able to stand on your position. This man stood on his position. Whether or not he agreed with it or not, the man stood on his position. And what did Anton do? He berated him and disrespected him out of the gate. Shut the fuck up. No one cares what you think. You're a guest. Buttercup. That's a problem for me. That's a problem for me. But yet, you talk about character. What? Character? A person with character that's above reproach does not need to depreciate and devalue someone else to elevate oneself. Okay, Anton, when Bolo brought it to your attention, you said, well, the man said that he was coming to expose me. You didn't know that at first. You didn't know that at first. He was a guest. You didn't know. None of us knew. The man came with a different opinion, a different perspective. What do you say? That's racist. That's stupid. To you. To you. Then the man talks about what marriage meant to him. What the most important thing is to him, not to you. Not to anybody in the panel, not to anybody who called in. Maybe he did or did not understand. To him, that was what was important. Just like you see marriage as a business. He doesn't. He doesn't. Who are you to say it? Who are we to say? My husband doesn't look at our marriage as a business. Yes, there are some financial benefits, but I can honestly say that's not why my husband married me, and that's not why I married him. First of all, he leads with the love of God. That's what he thinks. Okay. Another thing. I sit here, I watch because I watched last night because I've been taking care of my husband, so as a caregiver, you don't get a lot of sleep. So I was checking on my baby. But so I watched the clip again last night. And I was reminded of the broadcast that they had just previously done with Amira, to the point that they were talking about how Courtney instead of arguing against the perspective, was arguing against the person or downplaying the person. Something to that effect. Is that not what you did, sir? Is that not what you did, sir? And I'm thinking, and it's interesting, it's serendipitous that I had just posted on the Facebook group earlier that day that I believe my time has come to an end, because instead of lifting each other up, speaking into each other, whether we agree or not, believing the best of each other, we choose to crap on each other while the world watches. How could I have known that hours later, what I'd spoken had come to fruition yet again? Yet again. Yet again. Another problem.
Okay, you can see I was pretty upset. I was pretty upset. I think more than upset, I was disappointed. I was disappointed because, I will say this, and I mean every last word of it. With everything that is at our disposal, far as technology, far as the ability to communicate with people from around the world, we have lost so much. We have lost so much. We don't know how to engage in spirited debate. We don't know how to engage in interpersonal communication without going for the jugular. And it has all come to likes and visibility and views.
I don't have it, sir. You speak that you have Christian values, but the way that you are speaking is that you are Jesus himself. What do I mean by that? I chastise you because I love you. This is who you bring before the king, or this is who you bring before me. What? What? Thou think too highly of himself. I think too highly of himself. I'm disappointed. I'm hurt. I'm angry. But what I found very ironic, with all the ridiculousness, and I'm not even calling this one. I can't even think of a word where I'm just so flustered. When Mr. Samuels come on, you could hear a mouse pissing on Kanye. I said it.
Yep.
I said it. Nobody said a word.
That's right. They didn't. That's what pissed me off.
So it lets me know, you know how to pull it together when it needs to be pulled together. You have respect for who you choose to have respect for.
Yes.
He was invited to be a guest on that show.
He was invited to be a guest. And so this is how you treat people that are guests, whether they call in or whether they are invited to be on the platform. You humiliate them. No, that ain't what you do. Well, when Mr. Bolo, and thank you, Bolo, I know you tried. The answer was, well, he's a friend of the show. We want to exercise respect because he's at a higher level than we are. He's older than we are. I'm sorry. I will never forget, I was talking to my boss who was 2 grades higher than me, and I was telling her that I was giving some instruction to some of my soldiers. And she said to me, well, Terry, they need to do what you say out of respect because you're an officer. And they need to do what you tell them to do out of respect for your rank. And I said, with all due respect, ma'am, I appreciate that. But I'm going to go to them and come to them from a place of the fact that they are adults. And I'm an adult. And I'm going to treat... I told my boss that particular time, she was a major, I was a second or first lieutenant. And I told her, before I'm an officer, I'm an adult first. I'm an adult first. And so are they. You know, I didn't need to flaunt my rank to get them to do what I said. I didn't need to make them feel subordinate, even though they were technically my subordinates. I didn't make them feel subordinate to me as an individual. Let's continue.
I'm going to go to them and instruct them in a way because they are adults. If I have to go to my rank to get them to do what I need them to do, it's gone too far anyway. So I've never been one to use my rank, my grade, my money, my influence, none of that, to get you to respect me and follow me. I am a leader not because I say it, because others have said it about me. I am a leader not because I make you feel like shit so you can think that I have it all together. No, I empower you. I point out your flaws, your foibles, your areas of opportunity so we can grow together. I am dumbfounded. And no sooner than Kevin gets off the platform, Mr. Anton, you say, he saved you, Buttercup. But see, here's the thing. You knew enough not to say that shit while Kevin was there, because Kevin and I agree on some things and we don't agree on some things. But you knew enough not to say that shit because that was foolishness. Pure, unadulterated foolishness. And I'm looking at you. I'm watching you. I'm watching you and you are enjoying it. And you say, no, JR, let it keep going. Let it keep going. And I'm going to make so much money off of you. So that's what this is really about. That's what this is really about.
And another thing on that, they knew enough, specifically Anton, but all of them knew enough not to say anything derogatory or disrespectful during that while Kevin was on the platform, in my opinion, for a couple of reasons. Because Kevin engages his audience the way he engages his audience. But in my opinion, they showed him the respect because of, yes, his platform is larger, he is older, but also they don't want to alienate Kevin from them. And I said it, and I mean it. So Mr. Anton, he kept all of the foolishness aside because of out of respect for Kevin, but also he don't want to alienate Kevin because the following is too great. Let's be clear about that. Let's continue.
About the money for your pockets. Now, Mr. Hannibal, if you're listening, I want you to hear me and hear me well. Don't you ever let no one take you to a place that is uncharacteristic of who you are. I don't know you. You seem to have a head on your shoulders. I didn't agree with some of your insights, but again, you seem to have a head on your shoulders. And because of frustration, you allowed yourself to get out of character. Don't do it. Don't do it. And another reason why I'm glad that God didn't allow me to call in, because I was hurt. I was angry. But one thing that I always keep in my mind that you young people don't have to think about. I always think about whatever I say and do in public. What would my daughter think? What would my mother think? One day when my grandchild is old enough to pull this, what will she think of her grandmother? And even though my grandfather is gone, what would he think?
And as a married woman, and I should have said this first because, again, first and foremost, I represent God, but I represent my husband. I represent my husband. And I would never want to put anything out there that would bring shame to him either, because I have his last name. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Man. I you know, I'm bothered. I'm bothered. And then, Mr. Anton, you said, we don't censor people here. Really? Yet, you say, don't worry about it, I'll edit it out. Is that not censorship? Is that not censorship? Yet, we call you call others hypocritical. So, you know, it's interesting because it is obvious to me what motivates you. And it's not the love of others. It is the love of money.
I meant it.
I'm not to say that you haven't done positive things. I'm sure you have. I'm sure you have, and I'm sure those that you have helped appreciate it. But I question your motives, and again, you should. I mean, who cares what I think? But I question the motives because, see, when I do stuff for people, it's because I seek to be the change I want to see in the world.
Facts.
Professionally and personally. Period. I don't espouse how much money I have. No one give a damn unless I'm giving it to them. And I ain't. But my husband and I, we do well. And I will say, I ain't ashamed to say, I'm sure we don't have nearly as much money as you do. But let me tell you what we do have. We have the love of our family. We have the love of each other. We have the love of Lord Jesus Christ. Where our kids, our grandkids, our friends, family, you know, just, I just can't even describe it all. All our needs are met, many wants. I want for nothing. I give anybody the shirt off my back. I've been married to a wealthy man. My ex-husband, my daughter's father was a wealthy man. Many of my friends are wealthy people. I have never heard and I mean wealthy. Kevin knows some of them. Like I said, we went to high school and college together. I ain't never heard them talk about money like that. Ever. Ever. And many of those same people have helped me get my shit together because I'll be honest. You know, I had a spending problem.
True.
But they helped me get my stuff together without shouting it from the mountaintop. You know, like I said, people, the reason why I'm on here is not necessarily because I'm trying to bash Anton, but Anton, sir, I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed because I know
you know better.
You know better.
Yes, yes, yes.
I know you know better because you are smart. But is the way that you overcome when someone is, you know, when you believe that someone is challenging you to make him look like a damn fool. And no, you're going to say, well, he made himself look like a fool. Maybe. You kept pushing though. And what was the point of that?
Views.
What was the point of that?
Views.
Because let me be clear. You know, it's not about debate. It's not about debate because, see, my experience as a human resources professional, I have dealt with union negotiations. I've worked with unions in the federal government for almost 10 years. So I am fully aware what robust debate is. That has been my job for the past almost 10 years, working between management and unions. And if anybody knows anything about unions, those situations can be quite contentious. Quite. However, there's some ground rules. There's some ground rules. We agree that there's certain things we're just not going to do. Yes, there's robust debate, but there's no way that you have to sit here and let someone disrespect you like that. Because, see, at that point, we're not listening.
We're not listening to each other.
That's right.
So what's the point? Cannon, you're right. And this is not even for him, honey. This is for those who really don't know.
You know, I was during the live, some of the members of the group were chiming in, and I was explaining to them, it wasn't even really for Anton. It was really for those, like I was about to say, who are young, impressionable, who don't have any experience with really hands-on or real life interpersonal communication or conflict resolution experience. They may think, being disrespectful is the way that you debate and argue your point, and it is not. So that is why I came on that platform, because I wanted to let them know this is not how you do it. And again, going back to the fact that Anton is in the public eye, has a number of followers, people who look up to him not only for his business acumen, but also because of the things that he's accomplished. And then they're watching him saying, well, maybe that's how I need to do it. So that's why I was telling the young people in the live that it wasn't really for him, because, to Anton is Anton. And he don't know me. Who cares what I think? But for some of those in the group who do respect me or did value me, my perspective, I wanted them to hear from me.
That's not how you do it. Because if I was in my 20s, hadn't been out there in the world, not really sure how to move in the world when it comes to negotiation, when it comes to robust debate, I might think, well, that's how you do it. It's not. Even when I was in my full sickness, and what I mean full sickness, full of my damn self on the campus of University of Oklahoma, Delta, Big Sister Black Panther, growing people real on a daily. I didn't do no shit like that. I never attacked a person like that. I surely didn't invite you into my space to humiliate you like that. So no, this is not for him. Because again, people are who they are. And see, that's another thing I'm disappointed, sir. Because you talked about you rock with people of good character. What constitutes good character if that's what you're doing? Please tell me. Even don't tell me, tell us. Because you, by your own admission, I watched your stuff. You said to people that called into your show that they have a responsibility for the words they say and the impact on other people. Does that not apply to you when it's not concerning money? Doesn't that apply to you? This is not how we do it, people. Maybe my view on character is different, Lord my hair, is because, I wasn't raised with money. My grandparents didn't have money, but we were poor and didn't know we were. My grandfather took in somebody else's child before him and my grandmother even had a child of their own. My mother didn't have money. She taught me and my sister a strong work ethic. She taught us an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. I never measured up somebody's worth by how much money they had. Still don't. And maybe that's why when people see me, they see a person who cares. I could give a damn how much you got. And because of those kind of examples, I took someone into my house. My daughter's best friend, who had been kicked out at the age of 16. And
it was actually 17.
Brought him into our home and raised him for those 2 years like he was my own, to help set him on the right path. Didn't want nothing from him. Just wanted his life to be good. Didn't try to boast. I just wanted to make a difference. I'm sorry, I'm getting upset. Woo! And for those of y'all say emotional, you're damn right I am. You're damn right.
Because I said that because, now, it's so interesting with this manosphere conversation, oh, this person's emotional and they're in their feelings. That's some dumb, that is some dumb crap. We all have emotions. We need to manage them, but we all have emotions. And that situation affected me because I hate to see people treat others that way when we're supposed to be trying to come together in some shape, form, or fashion, because there's enough going on out there.
And I thank for those people who asked me not to get off the group because you know who you are, because you said I can make a difference.
It was too late. I had to go.
And that's why I'm here. Again, going back to my military days, there are some officers that were shit. But I learned something from them just like I learned from the excellent officers. I learned I either want to be like this person or no, I don't want to be like that person. And it's because of that, people who worked for me 20 years ago still call me to this day. Some of them have surpassed me in their careers. Some of them are at my same level. Some of them have retired. Some of them have gone on to get degrees because I practiced some tough love and had to grow them when I felt that they weren't living up to their potential. But it wasn't about me. It's because I saw something better in them and I wanted them to be better to take it to the next group. You talk about Mr. Anton, that no one has experienced discrimination. You don't know what people have experienced. You all keep using victim Olympic. It's not because those are your own thoughts. Again, it's getting in your head. And you're being influenced. And maybe that's not his walk. Maybe that's not his experience.
Regarding Anton.
But it don't mean it ain't somebody's.
That's
So again, it's not a reason to say that we can't do what we need to do. But please don't act like there's no impact. Please don't act like Hannibal says that things of the past don't affect now. They do. And somebody put last Thursday in the chat, even the Jewish community, they take care of their own. It doesn't mean that they hate the others. They have their own community that they pour into. It doesn't mean that they're separating or they're hating on the others. Why does self-preservation mean that we can't love somebody else? And I don't think anybody said that. And those who think that kind of display is necessarily alpha, I'm going to tell you no on that too. Why I'm going to tell you no? My husband is, he played football in high school and college. He's a truck driver now. He's the oldest in his family.
I like talking about my honey.
He don't talk a lot, but he don't miss nothing. He don't miss nothing. And what he does when he speaks with such authority and command. It just takes, ladies, it takes me there. I'm sorry. It does. But he doesn't have to say he's an alpha because the way he moves, the way he talks, the way that people follow him, the way people gravitate toward, you see it. You see it. And he don't boast. And he reminds me so much of my grandfather because, again, my grandfather didn't say a whole bunch. But when Joseph Jones stepped into the room,
he was like,
when he opened his mouth, like everybody in the family went to Uncle Joseph because he was the man with the plan. That's an alpha. Your actions speak for themselves. He wasn't tearing people down to make himself look good. Never. Never. So that's why I'm coming, because again, if you're wondering, well, I want to be an alpha, so that's what I got to do. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay?
I had to do I'm doing some thinking because I know why I'm here. I know why I've subscribed to certain channels, because I could learn from them. I could use things that maybe to help me as I seek to grow my channel and reach people. But when I see that it is becoming non-productive, when it is becoming just as toxic as the environment at large, I have to rethink some stuff. Because one of the things I shared with the some of the viewers that was doing that Facebook Live, that gets into my spirit. And it has an effect on me. And whether you realize it or not, depending on what you're feeding your soul, it will have an effect on you too. And I'm grateful that I had my husband, because he was watching, okay, like, wait a minute, what's going on? Because he could see the toll it was taking on me. And no, I'm not doing that. So I'm going to challenge you all to look at the video, the entire video. It's on Lapeef Let's Talk on the Lapeef Network. Take a look at, I think it was like the broadcast was like 7 hours long, but if you go into maybe 2 hours into it, you can see when things start to get ramped up, and you can tell me what you think. So I apologize for the quality of this, because again, I'm still learning. As you all know, I just started doing this stuff in May. So I'm still learning. I'm gonna have to chop some things up and see how it comes through. But I just kind of wanted to share that with you all and let me know what you think. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.